Now we will look at some of the signs of ism. How can you identify an ism? We have in total 4 signs. Okay, the first sign is that if a word ends with tanween. Okay, I will just show you just a second. So we have the first one, qalamun, right? This is an ism. How do you know this is an ism? So within qalam we have 3 letters, qaf, lam, mim. The last letter has a dhammatani. Okay, and that's a tanween. Okay, so that's how we know this is an ism, because it ends with tanween. Kitabun is also an ism. How do you know that? Because this also ends with tanween. And we have more examples like baytun and sarirun, maktabun. Okay, all of these are isms. And how do you know they're isms? Because they end with tanween. It could be dhammatani, fathatani, kasratani. Okay, any type of tanween. So that's the first sign. If a word ends with tanween, then that means it's an ism. Okay, the second sign is if a word starts with alif lam, al. As you can see here, al qalamu, al kitabu, right? How do you know al qalamu is an ism? Because it starts with al. How do you know al kitabu is an ism? Because it starts with al. And then you could have al baytu, al sariru, al maktabu. These are isms because they have this sign, which is that they start with al. Okay, so the first sign is if a word ends with tanween, like you can see in qalamun and kitabun. The second sign is if an ism starts with al. Okay, the third sign is if the word has ya before it. Okay, like you have, just a second, ya Musa. So this is not just the simple letter ya that you have, not this ya. This is the other ya, this one, ya fatha alif. And this ya is a, sorry, just a second. Yeah, this ya is a particle of calling, and you use it to call others. Okay, so if you say, for example, ya Musa, oh Musa, right? And then you have ya Harun, oh Harun. How do you know Musa and Harun are isms? Because you have this ya before it, particle of calling. Okay, and we also say it when we make dua. We say ya Allahu, right? Oh Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is an ism because we have ya before it. So any word that has ya before it, this is an ism. This is a third sign. And in Qur'an, the ya could be written with just like a single letter, and then you could have alif saghira, like a standing fatha on top. Ya Musa, ya Harun. This is how it's written in the Qur'an. But you could also write it like ya fatha alif, like separately, ya fatha alif, then Musa. Ya Musa and ya Harun. So this is the third sign. Okay, so the first sign is tanween on the last letter, the second sign is al at the start, and the third sign is ya, yani that the particle of calling, the particle that you use to call others. And if you have that before a word, then that means that's an ism. The last sign, the fourth sign, is if the word has a preposition before it. Okay, so this last sign, we will be studying about that later on in more detail, about prepositions. Okay, for now you just need to know this, that if a word has a preposition before it, then it's an ism. And you just need to focus on the first 3 signs. That's what we will be practicing in first few lessons. So the signs are, you can look at the tape. This is the acronym that you can use to recall the signs of ism. So we have tape, TAYP. Okay, T stands for tanween on the last letter, must be on the last letter. Al at the start. Ya, yani the particle of calling that you use to call others. Ya, this one, if you have that at the start. and preposition before a word. This shows that a word is an ism. Okay, so the 4 signs of ism, you can remember them by tape. Tanween on the last letter, al at the start, ya before it, and preposition before it. Okay.